Former DA Federal Chairperson and Nelson Mandela Bay Executive Mayor Athol Trollip has joined ActionSA. Party leader Herman Mashaba unveiled the 57-year-old, making him the latest high-profile political figure to join the new party. Last month, Mashaba announced former DA Midvaal Mayor Bongani Baloyi as the newest member. Trollip expressed excitement over what ActionSA has achieved and its ability to attract South Africans from different backgrounds. He says he's hopeful that his new political home will bring about real change to what he's labeled a political circus. Trollip says his decision to join ActionSA wasn't an easy one. However, he says Mashaba's performance in the November local government elections is what drew him to the party.
I never dreamt that I would work with another party. My association with my former party was over a period of longer than 30 years. I served as a public representative for 25 years, and I really never thought I'd be where I am now. But you know, that I suppose is the essence of democracy and people making choices. And you'll recall at the time when I left the DA, I said that, you know, I regard myself as a conviction politician and not a career politician. And I'd lost a bit of conviction with my former political party, and I'm going to give it a go with ActionSA. I was very impressed what they did in the last election with very limited time and resources and only contested in 6 elections. And the fact that they were able to attract support across the board in those municipalities was interesting. Someone asked me the other day if I was going to join the Green xenophobe. I've written to Herman Mashaba. I've read their constitution on immigration and immigration. I've asked him very pertinent questions about whether he supports legal immigration, and he's written back to say absolutely does. Their constitution makes provision for that as well, and so does our constitution. Herman Mashaba is very clear that we do need scarce skills that we don't have in this country, and he also supports legal migration, immigration, and immigration. I've had a lot of discussions with him about that, and I'm sure we will have more in the party. I cannot join a party that is racist or xenophobic. I would never do that. And I've had very, very careful discussions with Herman Mashaba, and I've said that we need to be much more coherent on trigger issues in South Africa so that there's no confusion about what we actually stand for.
Right, we're joined now by ActionSA on other issues. They've raised concerns about the future of the coalition in the city of Ekurhuleni. In a statement, Herman Mashaba said some parties may be more committed than others to making the arrangement last longer to survive an imminent motion of no confidence or pass a budget. For more on this, I'm joined now by ActionSA chairperson Michael Beaumont. Michael, good evening and thank you very much for your time. You're asking the people of Ekurhuleni a simple question. You're saying, would you like the coalition parties to work at arm's length with the EFF in the legislature in order to keep the municipality out of the ANC's hands and deliver services, or would you prefer the coalition parties to refuse to work with the EFF even at arm's length with the EFF in the legislature and allow the municipality to return to the ANC? That's a question tonight for your viewers as well in Ekurhuleni. If you care to weigh in on that, let us in on what your views are tonight. 072-110-5584 as we get into this conversation tonight. Michael, you believe that there is certainly an instability in the voting bloc in Ekurhuleni. Are you the only party in the coalition who believes that, and if so, why?
Well, good evening, Thabo. I think anyone who doesn't believe that needs to look at the numbers. In Ekurhuleni, you need 113 seats to survive a motion of no confidence or pass a budget. Passing a budget is how you deliver services to residents. And the multi-party coalition currently has 94 seats. And unless there's going to be a process whereby those additional 19 seats can be obtained, an imminent motion of no confidence in that municipality will collapse that government, or the approval of a budget in May will not take place. And I think the reason why we want to talk to the residents is that these things affect the residents. It cannot be political parties having conversations internally about what they are willing to entertain without having a conversation with what the residents would like to happen, because it is ActionSA's belief that the residents would like service delivery. And when the electricity is going out constantly in Kempton Park, I think the residents in Kempton Park are more interested about how the electricity stays on than the color of the T-shirts that delivered that electricity.
Yeah, we have the view that the Economic Freedom Fighters gave the coalition partners or the DA or whoever they gave to those votes without an expectation of something in return. There was no sense that they wanted a quid pro quo kind of arrangement in place. Were we misled to believe that?
Well, yes. I mean, the proposal received from the EFF is a fascinating one because what they want, they essentially already have. They want 5 committee chairpersons in the legislature, which the ANC and the EFF collectively gave themselves when the committee chairmanships were elected. So essentially, they wouldn't be asking for anything at all. What is being sought is an engagement to explore cooperation in the municipality at that level. And I think particularly important here, Thabo, we all recognize that the policy and ideological differences with the EFF are too great to be involved in formal coalition or be involved in the executive. And to their credit, the EFF has said the same thing. The point here to ask is that if what they seek they already have, surely we must be exploring how we can formalize that arrangement so that this voting bloc can survive. Because you can't enter a government of a 5-year term and say we're committed to delivering services, but we are not going to be committed to exploring the solutions that are going to allow us to exist long enough to deliver those services.
Do you believe there's an imminent motion of no confidence?
Well, it's a favored tactic of the ANC. We know that. I mean, the ANC wants this municipality back. They see these municipalities as their property. And certainly the ANC must be, licking their lips at the prospect of a municipality that is 19 seats short of a majority. And this is why we are saying to the multi-party coalition, we need a solution. And if it's not this solution, then what solution is it? Because the numerical realities in Ekurhuleni is that there aren't many options at all. And we can't allow ourselves to be reactive to a situation that could cause instability that affects service delivery to the residents.
Yeah. So the response from the coalition partners is that, one, they will not even care to respond to the EFF proposal, so they will not give them a response. But two, that local councillors in each municipality must make their own arrangements. What does that actually mean?
Well, that was exactly our point, actually. And one of the reasons we decided we needed to go to a press conference is we have a fundamental lack of confidence in that solution. And I think anybody who knows the EFF or knows how they operate will understand when their national leadership presents a proposal and a multi-party coalition group says we will not respond, we're going to let local councillors talk about it. The reality is when that motion of no confidence or the budget comes to Ekurhuleni, an instruction will be given from their national leaders to the councillors there. And any effort to foster cooperation locally would be damaged. I think the multi-party coalition has to honestly look at how we build a strong voting bloc, and they need to engage the views of residents in that regard. Because ultimately, if we aren't doing this to serve residents and deliver services to our residents, then what are we doing?
What are you doing? I mean, you went into this knowing very well that the Democratic Alliance, for example, had clearly pointed out that they have shut the door on anything that has got to do with the economic freedom fighters or anything that has got to do with the ANC. So when you went into this coalition arrangement, were you of the view that things would be different in Ekurhuleni than in the other municipalities?
Well, absolutely. And I think the reason why we thought that is, on the one hand, when we asked the question, how is this coalition going to approve budgets? We were told that we would explore every solution possible to make that happen. We believe that that particular statement has not come to fruition in light of these recent events, and that has been the cause of our concern. I think, secondly, when you establish a multi-party coalition in respect of those numbers in Ekurhuleni, you are embracing the idea that you need to explore those kind of solutions. That's just the reality of the seat configurations. And our coalition agreement, which we have signed, says that we are committed to trying to build the strongest, most stable coalition governments. And it is ActionSA's belief that when we make that kind of commitment, we need to do so with our actions as well.
Yeah. Part of coalition arrangements, of course, is this endeavor to balance the interests of each political party. Is it in your interest to have the EFF vote along with you in Ekurhuleni? Are you just simply trying to force the EFF down the throats of the other parties?
No, and I know that some political parties really would like to make that the issue, but I can tell you right now, Thabo, that were it another political party that had the seats that were required to deliver stability in Ekurhuleni, we would be talking about that right now. The reality is this particular arrangement needs these votes if it is going to survive more than a handful of months. And we would venture that if we do not act in such a way where we can ensure its survival, we would be putting a major dent in the confidence of coalitions ahead of a 2024 election where coalitions we know are going to be the future.
Yeah. So in your statement, you're saying there was no even a counter offer that was given in response to the proposal by the EFF. How would you have carved or couched a counter offer here in order to get the support from the EFF?
Well, Thabo, to be very clear, it's ActionSA's position that a counter offer was not necessary. The proposal put on the table by the EFF was profoundly reasonable. They said, we recognize we can't be coalition partners because we fundamentally disagree. What we do agree on is keeping the ANC out. And it's important to remember, Thabo, that's how these municipalities came to be in the hands of multi-party coalitions. But most importantly, the roles they seek are in the legislature, heading committees where they do not run departments, where the policy and ideological differences of the EFF do not come into play from a service delivery standpoint, and where essentially they'll be playing an oppositional oversight role over the coalition government. And that kind of hostile oversight kind of role is actually good for democracy. It actually ensures a strong separation of legislature and executive. So we didn't believe a counter offer was necessary. But what we said in our statement, Thabo, is that in an environment where you say you're trying to build strong coalition government, if a party comes forward with an offer that you do not like, and you're interested in building strong coalition government, then you propose an alternative. If you don't propose an alternative and you just say we're not going to respond, it brings into question whether we are trying to build that alternative.
Let's take a break. We'll come back with Michael Billmont. What are your thoughts tonight? 072-110-5584. Would you like to see the coalition parties in Ekurhuleni work at arm's length with the EFF, or would you prefer the coalition parties refuse to work with the EFF? ActionSA believing that would be handing back the municipality back into the hands of the African National Congress.